Hi and welcome to another episode, and today I'm walking patch down in the beautiful Scottish borders on a Sunday morning, and I'm just outside the beautiful grounds of Forres Castle down at the riverside, and it's just a stunning castle, beautiful grounds. And yeah, so I wanted to talk today about I guess changing paradigms and being small in my life for so long, and then waking up to the true potential and stepping into that true potential that's around me, and standing tall, becoming and thinking much bigger and creating through the intention of affecting so much more for the positive. And wow, there's so many themes to talk about. One thing is, I'm going through a transition at the moment as I transition my full-time corporate job as a day job into part-time. And I think what's really interesting about that is that going through that process, going through the financial aspects of it are really interesting, especially as I do my kind of inner conversations as well as those with my partner, and we talk a lot about how it's going to, how do we plan financially for a lower income from a salary. And it's really funny. I would say about 90 to 95% of the time I'm really just focused on freeing up the energy. So as I will have 4 days off at my day job and then 3 days on each week, it feels like those 4 days will be a fantastic way of recharging, of being able to express myself, to be able to receive, to go on adventures, to travel, to do more meditation, darkness and clearing sessions, to do more music, and to spend much more time with my family, because so much I can do around my family, and those kind of golden moments as your kids. My kids are now they're now 16 and 12, and I know how fast they grow up, and my eldest may not be at home for that much longer, and it's just so important to cherish that time. And so yeah, I feel like most of the time I'm just thinking that I will look forward to the energy and the extra practical time. And so I think it's a really interesting aspect of abundance, being small. We're taught from an early age to, here's a program. The program is you must have a career, you must get married, you must have kids, you must have a house, a car, and you can go on holidays sometimes. And that's basically it until you retire. But the funny thing is that it's much more, that's just a tiny, single option out of many that we can explore. So yeah, one thing I'm thinking about doing is just being able to think bigger about the impact that I have through my creativity. And that was a strong message that came through in my meditation today. It was all about no longer being small, playing small, and when I'm creating, to create with the intention that I can affect the world, the universe around me, and that this whole world is really craving that change as well. We all want change for the better. And I also know that when I create, I create with intention, and those intentions are encoded into the creations. So I've done another podcast on this, but they're encoded into the thoughts, the feelings, the notes, the lyrics, the whole feeling of a song is really kind of wrapped up around and expressing this feeling. So yeah, I think that's a really beautiful way of looking at the world, is that if you only ever think small and create with that intention, then that's what will manifest. And then the same vice versa, when you really put your unique aspects into those creations, that you'll be able to do a lot more. Morning. And yeah, I feel like the exciting part of it is that I feel so much of it is untapped, and if I so much of the potential is untapped. Just down at the riverside now, it's so beautiful. It's so hot for this time of year. I'm going to take my jacket off in a second. It's just roasting. So yeah, what examples have I had? I think there's a really interesting aspect of standing tall. And one is to create the doors yourself. So the doors I have in my life are things like, I created a website for my meditations for darkness clearing, healing, gift activation. And by creating that website, I think it was really just during its creation, I started to get bookings really quickly, and I was so excited. I had like 4 bookings in a couple of weeks, and it's like, wow, I've literally just created this thing. But it was because I created the website, this door of opportunity, with intention. You know, I thought as I created it that I could just do anything with it. It could be my main income, my sole income. It could be a hobby. I was like totally open to whatever it could be, and I knew that it would help others. I knew that it would be, a lot of my focus is to help others, and that I'd achieve a right balance. Like, it was so flexible. Like, I love the fact that as I set this up, that I could set the working hours. Initially, I've just said I'll do evenings, and I'm going to take my jacket off. Apologies for some of the noise that you probably hear through the microphone. And I'm holding my dog at the same time, which is quite difficult. Okay. Yeah, I love the fact that I could just set up this website and have this kind of perfect balance where I could say, these are the hours I'd like to work. This is the price or donations that people can make. And what else? Yeah, and I could set out my intention so clearly in the website. I could just say, well, here's the things I will offer. And one thing that got me really excited, definitely the geek in me, which is you can, through the website, what I love is that it does everything automatically. So someone can choose a date that I'm free, and it's like, it can be synchronized with my personal calendar and my available sessions. So they can see what's free. They can then choose to book it, choose how much they pay, and then it automatically books me in and creates a Zoom call at that time. And literally all I have to do is remember to turn up at the session, which is just fantastic. So yeah, I absolutely love that. So in terms of standing tall, I felt like to stand tall and really live out my kind of soul's purpose in this life, I need to set up those doors that allow the universe to reward me in the way that or through a door that I feel will kind of open me up to the next opportunities. And it's quite funny, although I have definitions of the sessions, so say things like, in your darkness and clearing and healing session, I will take you on a journey through, energy scans and past life regressions, and we'll do soul retrieval, and we'll go through and find any fragments of your soul, no matter where they are, whether in the lowest levels of hell or the highest levels of heaven. We'll bring all aspects of you together and heal, and then also work on your gift activation. And so although I write these things, and although it is true that sessions include these, every session is completely different and really guided by the guide themselves, and then also the client to see, where in that session can we offer the most value. And that's what I love, is that we're just in this situation where we can do whatever we want through a channel that allows such flexibility and such creativity. And the other thing I wanted to share is a bit about your soul's purpose, is that when you're living your highest timeline, you just feel so excited. You just feel so happy in your heart. It just feels amazing. And that was definitely one thing I wanted to think about more and reflect on more as I reflect on all the things I do in my day, and really seeking to maximize each day, each week, the amount of time that I have that feeling where I'm excited, where my heart feels like I'm on fire. I feel like a kid. I'm giggling, I'm laughing, and that for me was really important, because setting up these sessions allowed me to both experience that, and then as I went through them, to just experience that feeling afterwards as well. During and after. And then I think some of the things I just wanted to touch on that are outside of that as well are that, we still have egos, we still have programming, we still have fear or doubt in our minds. About playing small, one thing I experience, and it's also when I speak to other healers and clearers, they describe a similar situation where after I do a session, I just wonder, am I making all this up? It's like, did I just imagine all of this? When did I develop a gift? Or how did I develop a gift? Or what makes me so different? Where I could channel all this information and help this person with all this healing. And my ego just doesn't understand it. And so therefore doubts that it's even real. And I think in some respects it's really grounding, because you feel like that's, it's good to have that reflection, because I feel that through all the magic and mystery, it's a useful kind of check-in for discernment, and say, well, what does my heart think about all this? Do I feel like it was a real experience for me and for the client? Do I feel like I really have these gifts? And the answer is always a resounding yes. And it's quite funny, like I do hold space for my ego and my doubts, and I just listen to how it feels after I do sessions, or after I do something I've never done before. And I just listen to these, it's almost like listening to two voices at the same time. And the ego is kind of quite quiet and a bit grumpy. And then my heart is like soft and gentle and loving, and just seems to really, it's like, keep going, John. How does that feel to you? Do you feel excited by it? Do you feel like that you're genuinely serving others, and that is the right thing for you at this time? And don't overthink it. And I love that. I love that aspect. The other parts of programming is like financial. It's just fascinating. So I spent a lot of my career, 25 years, a bit more in IT and software development, and during that time I've had a salary for the entire time, and every year I always wanted to earn more money, well, until recently, and the kind of this kind of company programming that we have, where we have a salary, where there's really this continued reinforcement that it is the company that pays you, and that the company has the abundance, and where there's enough abundance, it will give abundance to you. But the irony is, you are the abundance. You're the one that creates. You're the one that's going into work every day and creating with and for the company, and it is your abundance that that defines what you receive. You know, your beliefs and what you'll receive. And I find that really fascinating now that I'm going through, you know, scaling back to, I guess, 3/5 of what I was doing previously. Come on, Patch. Morning. Come, Patchy. Come on, good boy. Come on. This way. Come on, Patch. Just seeing a little sausage dog. It's very cute. So yeah, as I reduce my salary income to 3/5, it's quite funny because you think, how am I going to survive on 3/5 of the abundance? And the reality is, that's not true. Like, what I'm actually doing is creating more space to be more abundant. And I was having a long conversation with my son the other day, so we had a beautiful walk. I think it was Friday night, and the sunset was just beautiful. And we're talking about, would you rather have, you know, £1 million, or if you're like homeless, you had, you know, nowhere to go, nothing to eat, would you have a suitcase? Would you rather have a suitcase of £1 million or a meal? And it's quite funny because if you really were, it's quite a difficult analogy to work out, but if you're sat in the middle of nowhere in a desert, there's literally nothing you could do with the money other than maybe eat it. But a meal, well, that could keep you going, and you might, you know, be able to move on to the next place of abundance. And I think money is a really interesting, it's a really interesting paradigm when, certainly the way we treat it now, when we apply the rules of, well, there's not rules, but when we apply the world of spirituality to it. And one thing I've been working on today on my website is allowing donations. And it's really funny, like the programming I go through, like I'm thinking, well, there's a set price for a session. And I don't think, I don't really know how long those prices will be like that. I don't know how much I should be charging. I know that it takes a lot of energy. Like at the moment, when I do a session, it's difficult for me to do anything more than 1 to 2 hours in 24 hours. Physically, it is so demanding because I go through the same emotions that the client does. And some of these sessions are just, you know, they're mind-blowing. They're such roller coasters. So yeah, that's definitely one thing I'm getting my head around, and I'm not necessarily trying to do lots more of those. I'm just trying to figure out what's the right energy exchange. And so when I think of energy exchange, I think, well, the amount of energy I put into that, both kind of psychically and physically, is huge. When something affects you for doing it for 3 days, it feels a bit like running a marathon. In fact, it feels, well, I haven't run a marathon, I've run a lot of half marathons, but it feels like that. So yeah, and then, but I also wanted, I want to have like a reasonable energy exchange, but what I don't want to do is stop people from having sessions when they can't afford it financially, because I feel like it can really help many people. And so at the moment, I set up like a donations kind of discount process where you can basically choose which of the discounts, anything from 10% discount to 100% discount for a session. And I added that to the website. And it's important to me that people can then just set the discount level that they can afford. And I've also been gifting sessions to people, and I think that's really beautiful. Somewhere between gifting and donations, you know, for complete strangers who can just kind of come along and connect and ask for help, and then for people that can afford it, people that have the money at the time or they're able to access it. There's like these kind of 3 ways of being able to engage with me for my services, and I feel like yeah, I feel that's like a really beautiful balance. But going through that, when I was going through that process and setting it all up, like my mind was just spinning. I was like, what if I go on, you know, like I have some beautiful interviews coming up. Ones with Unbiased and On the Fence, which is just such a dream. I absolutely love the channel. I love Shane, the owner of the channel, that we met in 2019. But yeah, I'm thinking in the back of my mind, like, what happens if I suddenly become popular overnight? Like, what? At the moment, literally people could just book me in Monday to Thursday and Saturday mornings every day for a year. And then I also thought, well, what happens if someone, you know, that's probably too much. Like, how would I cope with all that? And then I also thought, what about if a hacker like runs a script that just books out my entire year with 3 sessions. It's funny, that's the geek in me for sure. But I feel like, again, these are like doors. It's like if I can open a door to allow the flexibility of these different ways of engaging, then over time I'll just learn what it's like. And I think and resonate with what's right, and to discern. One of the things I wanted to do is make sure I'm aware of how these different things are panning out over time, so that I can see whether any one thing feels too much. And so one way I did that was for the donation sessions, I just set, I gave it a name called donations, and so that service, when someone signs up for it, I know exactly that's what it is. And so if I'm doing loads and loads, and it's like draining me, it's kind of draining my energy, then I'd know to balance that. And the same with the paid ones. If I was doing too many paid ones, I would feel that other people would be missing out, and I would probably gift more as well. And it's a really interesting gift. You know, some people that I've gifted it to, what I'll do is I'll just contact them and give them like a discount, like 100% discount, and so they can just go and sign up whenever they want. And I'd say for the vast majority of people, and I know they're quite interested because they've said it and I believe them, the gift is just sitting with them. And I think that's kind of beautiful, because it'll sit with them until they find the right time for them to engage with me. And I love that the way the work is that I have to have their permission. And that's really beautiful, because when you have a soul's permission to work with them, then you're really, you know, acting out the free will of the universe. And then there's been a couple of others who just signed up immediately. They've just been like, I'm signing you up like Monday. And they've just booked me in, which has just been fantastic too. So, yeah, they've been like recent examples for me. I've also just been looking at these kind of energy leaks as well, and you know, money's part of that. So I've been looking at things like what are the monthly outgoings, what are the things that are really important, that I really need to spend money on, and what's not so important. And you definitely get a real mix of stuff. There's some things where I've been, especially when I've been signing up for websites and doing these things, that you know, they kind of sit and linger, and they're only a small amount each month, and then you realize, oh, actually, it's a really bad idea to just keep them going, because it's just leaking money. You know, you're busy trying to earn money, or, you know, save energy the whole time. So yeah, going back to the theme of small and tall, I feel the small part of me, when I first set it up, my website, the previous version of it, was very much just like, contact me, in a very small voice. And now my new website is much more tall. It's like, this is me, this is my offering. If you want to take it, you can. If you have the right you know, it's the right time for you to engage with me, you can, and that, you know, money comes secondary to that timing. And the other interesting aspect is just the creation aspect as well. So when I'm creating websites, I've also been helping others create theirs, and been working with some friends to help people like me, healers, clearers, to be able to work with others as well, which I think is a really beautiful way. Morning. Come on, Patch. So yeah, I think that's a really beautiful thing to do, is to connect with more souls. So yeah, I think that's it for today. I've really enjoyed just taking you through some of the examples. And yeah, I look forward to taking on more walks and more adventures with Patch and sharing more. It's a beautiful day. I hope you have a beautiful weekend. Thank you so much for listening, and I wish you and your loved ones a beautiful day.